Congressman Andy Biggs from House Judiciary and House Oversight. Congressman, House Judiciary just fired off a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland and Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas saying they are stonewalling on border information about the terrorists who have been caught at the border and criminal illegal aliens caught at the border. Can you tell us more about this breaking news?
Yeah, here's what's going on. The Department is Homeland Security and DOJ are prohibiting us from getting information that we need, whether it's regarding to the terrorists and where they're going, how they're processing them. We want to know about the FISA. There's been reports that they used FISA, for instance, and we want to get to the bottom of that as well. So where this goes, the third thing I will tell you about this is we know that the DHS Inspector General Joseph Kafari has also complained and testified that these same two individuals and their departments are slow walking and stonewalling information that he's trying to get on border enforcement, everything from terrorists who are coming in, potential terrorists coming in, criminal activity coming in, and we're demanding again a further action on the part of these individuals, Secretary Mayorkas and Attorney General Garland. By the way, Liz, I'll tell you that we sent one previously just a couple months ago and another one about a month ago asking for more information. They continue to deny giving us this information. Well,
Congress has a constitutional duty to do oversight. I mean, so, Congressman, is there a chance here that things are so out of control that maybe because it's so chaotic, they don't have the information? I mean, I know that Congress has asked the GAO to follow up. Inspector Generals are trying to get this information. We've tracked the data. It's anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300 terrorists on the watch list caught at the border. There's nearly 2 million gotaways. There's about 40,000 to 50,000 criminal illegal aliens crossing. So maybe they don't have the information. Maybe it's so hectic and out of control.
Well, that would be consistent with what the Inspector General found, because what the Inspector General found is that 75% of the aliens that have been released into the country, think about it, we're talking about 8 to 9 million people. Of those, 75% we have lost absolute contact with. We have no idea where they went. And so I don't want to give these guys a break. The CBP agents are working their tails off to accumulate this information, but the department itself is slow walking whatever information they have, both to the IG and also to us.
So, Congressman, the impeachment case against Mayorkas, what are the high crimes and misdemeanors here?
Well, first thing I would say is he's aiding and abetting an invasion into the country. He's committed a dereliction of duty. There is no requirement that we show a felony, but I can tell you this. He has failed to bring operational control of the border. He has said even that he doesn't care about the statutory definition. He redefined operational control in his mind. He thinks he has operational control. Also, this notion that you don't hold people in detention until their immigration status is confirmed or is adjudicated. That's what he's done. So he's basically willfully defied the statutory obligations that he has. The other thing is he's willfully lied to Congress. That is what we have asserted. That's what we believe is the case, and we think the evidence demonstrates that. So he's got a whole plethora there of what's going on. He owns this. He has designed this border, and when he says he's bringing it under control, when you have another record a number of apprehensions in December, plus the gotaways, so you're well over 400,000 people tried to enter our country or did enter our country just last month. Okay. This is an invasion.
Okay,
this is an invasion.
Let's watch White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. She, by the way, she was asked, she couldn't name any specific tangible actions the Biden White House did to secure the border. She was asked about that, but she couldn't name it. Let's show what the president did from day one. This is according to the White House. It's according to House Oversight. It's according to CBP. This is what the president has been doing as border authorities say he collapsed the border. Nearly 300 executive actions. He stopped border wall construction. He stopped Trump's remain in Mexico. He sought to freeze deportations for 100 days and much, much more. So your word on that. They say they're securing the border. Behind the scenes, this is what's going on.
Yeah. What's happening, Liz, is he's actually encouraging people to come into this country illegally. The money he wants from Congress is to actually speed up the distribution of these people, the processing and distribution of these people throughout the country. We should be stopping the NGO funding. We should be stopping the UN migration funding as well.
Okay, Texas says it will fight Biden's Department of Justice lawsuit to stop Texas's new state law that gives the powers to state authorities to arrest and deport illegal immigrants. Many illegal aliens come for work. That's not covered under U.S. asylum laws. Let's listen to the Texas governor here. Watch this.
You know, they profess to be sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. They want to welcome them in until they actually do come in. And then when they come in, they say, no, we don't want them here. If the Biden administration was enforcing the immigration laws passed by Congress, the mayors of New York, the leaders of New Jersey and Chicago, et cetera, they would not be having these problems. When Joe Biden came into office and when Mayorkas came into office, they eliminated enforcement of immigration laws. That change in climate is what led to the all-time record-breaking number of people crossing the border illegally.
What do you say, Congressman?
He's exactly right. They don't enforce the border laws. There's 1.5 million people who have actually gone through due process that have a removal order, and ICE cannot go get them and remove them. You know what slows down the incentive to come in the country illegally is removals, deportations. Those people have had due process, and Mayorkas has said, no, we're not going to deport them. We're not going to remove them. And there's nothing humane about what this guy has done. And he claims it was humane. So I agree with Governor Abbott. And I would just remind everybody about the U.S. v. Arizona case from about 12 years ago, where if the federal government vacated the field, then the states can enforce border security immigration laws. The federal government has totally vacated the field and left it wide open. There's a reason that we're calling it an invasion, Article 4, Section 4, and that would allow states to actually take action, in my opinion.
Interesting. Congressman Biggs, thank you so much. It's good to see you.